I like reading physics, but news and politics is like, that's another matter, you know.
Now, Bafang, and you've had this, the mileage on this, you just click the odd.
Yeah, it's about 7,300 miles now.
7,300. Now, this must
and I've not
be...
done
yes.
any servicing to the motor or the electrics.
I see.
So when I first set up the lights and the battery and everything, it's lasted that long.
I see.
And the I've gone through, this is my fourth chain. That's the main thing, obviously, because it's driving the chain there.
Yes. So, and with this, you showed me the charger, which is a rapid charger, which you recommend, which is a 4-amp charger for this bike.
Yes.
For this battery.
Yeah, which is a 48-volt battery.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's Bafang, their standards are 36 and 48, and
the 48-volt is the better. That's the one to.
You've got more options for capacity and power.
Yes.
So, and it's just lower current. So, like to get the same amount of power from the 36-volt, you need the higher current, and that's actually more strain on the on the electrics and more heat.
Yeah, and you toured Ireland with this as well.
Yeah, so that August 2 years ago, that was blazing hot.
Yeah.
I was on the road for the whole month.
So you had
the scale of the kind of cycle touring I hear of, it's not a tremendous amount of time, but it was you know, some tough going, and
well, indeed,
really enjoyed the west coast of Ireland, and was on the road and just charging at cafes, pubs, and towards the end campsites. I wanted a bit of comfort.
Yes.
And it's really not difficult to find places to charge.
Yes.
And like I was saying earlier, just half an hour to an hour charging with this fast charger and give me another 40 miles.
Yes. Yeah. So you're able to move on, and that's a considerable amount of oomph in a day.
Yeah. It's really.
Yeah.
I often wouldn't do that just because I'd just find somewhere to be and just, you know, I wouldn't.
Yes.
I just.
But I'm
enjoyed being in the countryside of Ireland, and But anyway,
the Bafang is quite a remarkable motor. I've come across several which I've spoken to the owners of, and this is really off the radar of most people with electric bikes, isn't it? You know, they perhaps plummet, but this entails
like so-called like aftermarket DIY world, but simultaneously you've got companies that hire out electric bikes in the cities, and they're running Bafangs and Tongshangs kit converted.
Yes,
because it's cost effective, and you know,
because the kit itself is around, I think around £450, isn't it?
I think around 350 actually. Yeah.
And
I mean, I got a nice display, and it's cost me 380 for the kit, and then batteries. Another cost on top of that. Yeah,
what would you say the batteries are, and would you sort of, someone has said to me involved with these bikes that they went for a Samsung
cells. Yeah, there's like Samsung, LG, Panasonic, and
yes.
So yeah, they're putting their name to them, then they tend to be better quality, and then there's just the manufactured unlabeled Chinese cells, which
questionable maybe.
But even the named brands, like the way these the cheaper packs are sold, they have their A grade, B grade, C grade cells, and you don't actually know what grade cell you're getting, even if they're like Samsung cells.
Yeah, because it's a matter of matching them, isn't it? The capacity of each individual battery, I believe.
Yeah.
Yes.
Done on a batch. It's really unpredictable, unfortunately, to the point where even the people who are selling them from China, Chinese companies, they don't know what they're selling. So they get batches of batteries from the manufacturers that may be slightly different from the last batch.
Yes.
So that's just the way it is, and
but the cost of a pack.
That's the case with probably a lot of like even higher end e-bikes. With their custom back,
because
specially made battery
on the large capacity branded, I'm talking of the the high street brand names of bicycles.
Yeah, high bikes and Bosch motor bikes.
If you're looking at these batteries, what would you say the price is on for a reasonable capacity battery on the DIY fabrication of an e-bike?
It's now at around 160 for a decent
battery.
Yeah, and it's because that's gone down a lot.
Yes.
It started to go up again, but it's so affordable
Below
now.
200,
Like,
it's a lot more affordable.
Oh yeah, it's below 200, and it's really remarkable. And say, I've been looking at because I get bikes into service sometimes, and I've been looking at some of these systems from say with the Bosch motor and their custom like integrated battery, and it's about 3 times the cost for the same amount of lithium, you know.
Yes, they are very.
So they're charging an incredible amount for their batteries.
It's easy to pay almost £1,000.
We know that these are they are consumables.
Yes,
they degrade, and you know, I'll have the advantage of having to replace this. I won't even have to change the rail. I can just swap out the battery.
Well, is this the original battery that you've travelled 7,000 miles on?
Yes. Yeah. And I'm getting bikes in that are failing before 500 miles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're able to.
You could say maybe people aren't looking after them, but you know, I'm getting like display failures, like wiring going wrong.
This is a far more simpler concept of an e-bike.
I guess it is in some ways. Yeah.
You don't have
Bluetooth. They're very similar. Like I've had the pleasure of taking apart a few of these Bosch motors, and they're very, very similar inside to this. They're actually more complex because they've got like some torque sensing things going on.
Yeah.
You know, these are very serviceable. They're very, very solidly built.
Yeah. And it's been planted in looks like a steel frame. It might be an alloy frame.
No, that's alloy. Yeah.
Alloy frame. So this is an alloy.
I got this bike for 50 quid. And
it's a mountain bike, former mountain bike by the looks of it.
Yeah. Now it's been on my like to-do list forever to swap everything over to a different frame that's more comfortable actually.
Yes.
But it's one of those things where like I just set this up and then I'm still going, you know. So. And
you'd rather be using it rather than sitting. And perhaps, it's always how can I say that horizon, that elusive perfection of something that's already working. You construct something, you may as well use it. Yes, I know what you mean. It's rather like a marriage after 10 years, isn't it?
Yes, yeah. I'm almost waiting for this thing to fail so I can just swap everything over, service it, take it to bits and swap everything over.
This is, if I can say, the mileage on it, rather than you spending time on perfecting visually all the parts of it, to actually use it and to achieve 7,000 miles on it, have the time to cover 7,000 miles on the original motor.
I held it down to 20 amps, and that's maybe significant in terms of the life of it as well. And when I'm doing this like more consistent riding, I do have it in like a gear that's good for the chain line, and I have like a low power setting, and I just kind of keep it ticking along at a very consistent speed. So there's a little bit of the way I use it as well. That's
the style of riding, and and being conscious that the chain is in a direct pull. Probably to a centre.
That really helps a lot.
On everything. I imagine
the
wear.
First chain lasting 2,000 miles was like a big surprise to me.
Well, if I can say on mine,
and I've got the original chain ring. That's even more surprising.
Indeed, it is. On mine, I use a mud flap on the front of the bike. And the chains on there, I think the last 10 days I've done about 300 odd miles. And it really keeps everything off that bottom bracket. That bottom bracket lasts, and so do the rings as well. I can easily get 2 years, and I never clean the chain. And the bike is never cleaned. I never start jet washing or spraying a bike frame. That is the beginning of the end as far as I'm concerned.
It's so funny, isn't it? Yeah, just driving that water into all those delicate components is
engineered, and then wondering why they're failing.
Yes, I like to let the mud cake up a bit, you know, just make a nice protective layer.
And you have a bike shop fairly local, because now we're in Bangor, and you have a little shop, and you're able to make these conversions should someone be that way inclined.
Yeah, just in Tregarth. So
Tregarth.
If you just look for a bike shop in Tregarth, it should be the one.
And for those of us, the spelling of it,
Tregarth, Tregarth.
And that is close to Bangor, which is situated north of Wales.
That's it.
And if you have a bike that wants converting, or perhaps wished at all, we look at the bike shop,
it.
which is in Tregarth.
My name's Dan.
And Dan will be able to assist you.
There we are.
And I thoroughly recommend investigating the Bafang conversions as opposed to diving headfirst into what are the pre-made options. This is a very reliable. I've come across numerous riders, at least 3 others, who have been using the Bafang, and I have not heard of a failure on them. It's a basic, simple motor that is reliable. And as Dan said, he's been over 7,000 odd miles on this, and that's a proven reliability. That's very great. Thank you very much, Dan. So let's hope you can get another. It'd be interesting to see the total mileage before
see
a failure.
Whether the clutch gives out or the bearing gives out,
yes,
or I don't know, but it'll be interesting, I guess.
It will be to just and then look back at it and then see how you could have got even more mileage from it. That's great.
That's it.
Thank you very much for explaining it to me. I hope anyone watching will benefit from insight of an owner and builder of an electric bike.